Before we begin, we would like to open up with the quote that one of the main characters says that we truly inspires our mindsets. In the wise words of Dominic Toretto.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Hi, Dylan Sensor and I will be doing a video analysis on the Fast and Furious film franchise and the drastic evolution it underwent in the past 2 decades, from movies about cars to your basic Hollywood action-packed blockbuster.
Just to give a quick rundown of one of my favorite film sagas, Fast and Furious was originally about the underground drag racing scene that incorporated a plot that revolved around crime and theft. In the first film in the franchise, The Fast and the Furious, as seen here, we can see the traditional and iconic drag racing scene with the characters and their iconic cars that include the Acura Integra, Mitsubishi Eclipse, Mazda RX-7, and Honda Civic. If you do not know, all these cars are JDM, which essentially means Japanese domestic market, and refers to the Japan's home market for vehicles. The film exploded in popularity and brought more eyes into the JDM industry that rose in popularity in the past 2 decades. The main cast that stayed prevalent throughout all the movies was Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz, and Jordana Brewster as Mia Toretto. Just as actors are an essential piece in filmmaking, these cars and that these characters drive are just as important. Throughout the film, these characters drive multiple cars that the audience has come to love, but the most memorable cars that the cast drives include that the famous R34 Skyline that Brian drives, Dom drives a Dodge Challenger, Letty drives a 240, and Mia drives an NSX. Just in all, these cars' modifications were especially important in various scenes in all the movies. The film was not shy in going into depth on the various mods that the cars utilized to win in heated drag races. For example, Brian's Skyline has underglow, Recaro seats, NOS, turbo, and a fixed-up RB26 engine. These were popular mods in the JDM car culture, which were popularized in the early 2000s by the Fast and Furious franchise.
Next up, I'm going to discuss the drastic evolution that the franchise decided to take in order to stay relevant in the ever-changing movie industry. Even though the later installments still had an emphasis on cars, the direction of the later films started to take a turn after Fast 5. The widely popular and arguably the best movie out of the entire series, Fast 5 was drastically different from all the previous movies, all while keeping the same cast and adding a few new characters that the audience came to enjoy instantly. The success of Fast 5 can be attributed to the new perspective that director Justin Lin had envisioned for the future of the Fast and Furious films. Rather than keeping the topic of cars and racing as the main centerpiece of the film franchise, Lin opted for a more action-oriented genre when directing the film. It was a risk worth taking due to the lackluster audience reaction of the previous film that questioned the future of the franchise. Fast 5 would later crush all expectations and destroy the box office by bringing in a whopping total of $626 million. Many factors played into the massive success of the films prior to Fast 5, such as the evolution of the plot that took the main cast from strictly being in the United States to places all over the world that include Rio de Janeiro, London, Spain, Scotland, Cuba, Iceland, and the list goes on. Additionally, the film series grew to be a more thrill-seeking, adventurous, and headed towards a genre much similar to movies like Mission Impossible, Ocean's 11, and Baby Driver. Just like in all these movies listed, the Fast and Furious franchise incorporated many death-defying and gravity-defying stunts that were unprecedented in the past films. As seen here, we'll compare the stunts in Too Fast, Too Furious and Fast and Furious 6.
Oh, Brian, you crazy, man! The hell you doing?
This is just one of many insane stunts that Fast and Furious 6 has accomplished. In comparison to Too Fast, Too Furious, there were many more stunts performed in Fast and Furious 6 due to the new direction that director Justin Lin decided to go in. Midway into filming the seventh movie of the franchise, a sudden tragedy struck and shocked the whole world, including the cast.
Paul Walker, one of the stars of the enormously popular Fast and Furious movies, dead in a car crash. The accident scene tells the story. There it is. Walker was a passenger in a Porsche that collided with a pole and caught fire. The actor had been attending.
With this tragedy happening, the cast was obviously very mortified and made it difficult both physically and emotionally to continue with the filmmaking. With only half of the movie being filmed with the real Paul Walker, the rest of the movie was filmed by his brothers using their bodies but implementing false face to complete the movie. In total, there were about 260 shots taken of Caleb and Cody Walker, in which a CGI version of Paul's face was placed over top of theirs. Another 90 shots featured already captured footage of Walker that was reconfigured to better match the film, including the famous Walker's Brian and Vin Diesel's Dom Toretto exchanging a goodbye and driving the cars in separate directions.
You'll always be with me. And you'll always be my brother.
And this scene, in many people's eyes, is the most emotional scene throughout the whole saga because of how Walker's and Diesel's bond was so prominent in the films. It was heartbreaking to see it disappear in the future films.
All in all, this film saga has packed me so much. In the aspect of how this film is showing how people from different backgrounds can come together and form a bond/family with one another and stay connected to the thick and thin. It also manifested my preferences for the cars and how my knowledge of cars has grown and evolved to hopefully in the future owning one of these cars in the films.
At the end, even though the Fast and Furious film franchise decided to take a different approach from what they were used to, it proved to be immensely beneficial to the actors and franchise as a whole to stay in the trend of action-packed movies that dominated the movie industry at the time. To me, just like Dylan, Fast and Furious films had taught me a lot about cars, but above all, family is number one.